Well, hey folks, this is Fat Guy Flies RC coming to you from the Fat Guy Flies RC studios. All right, we're going to unbox and build the AVIOS Twin Otter here, sent to me by Hobby King for review. Take it out of the box and see what's in the thing, go over the parts. Now, there is, as soon as you take it out of the box, there's a very obvious parts inside on the underside of it. So let's go ahead and take care of that first. More than likely it's, oh, I thought maybe the floats, but part of the landing gear there. And feels heavy and metal. So let's see what's in this. Oh, this is like struts and stuff. All your hardware. Yeah, float hardware, struts, your bags of bits and bobs. Okay. While we're here, we'll go ahead and open up the box. Okay. Let me know if y'all, I mean, if you would rather me just do like a lot of these YouTubers where they just pick the box up and drop it and all of a sudden there's all the parts there and then they pick up the part and then the plane's put together. I mean, I can do that with editing, but I don't prefer to do it. If that's what y'all want, that's what I'll do. So I got to put the plane together anyways. So I just prefer you see the process. All right, let's talk about, all right. All right, it's got a 63 or 16 inch or 16 millimeter wingspan. It's 47.6 inches long. It's got two 3020 kV, 800 kV motors, Aerostar, two Aerostar 30 amp ESCs with reverse, 7 9-gram metal digital servos, two 9.3 by 6 electric props. They spin inwards, counterclockwise. Runs on a 4S LiPo, 2200 up probably like to a 26 or maybe even a 3000. And all up weight is about 21 grams for the recommended battery. Okay. Nice looking box. One thing I can say about about Avios, they're starting to get a little more pride in their boxes. I mean, it used to be just a plain white box, and then you had a sticker on the inside that showed you what was in that box, which I understand it saves money, but to me this shows you that you've got a little more pride in your product. Now this comes with the floats, which I know y'all are thinking, well, it's an Otter, you ought to have it on floats, but I might. But for right now, we'll be flying it at the field. All right, and as usual, everything is packed like you can drop it off the back of a bus or a big old truck. Now I will not be, these are the tail fences that would go on the very back of the plane, back by, on the elevator. But that's mainly for water flight, which I don't plan on necessarily doing, but so I'll keep that option open. All right, one half of the wing, very nice. Very nice smooth surface. Like I've said many times, you can see the individual cells, but you can't feel them. Pinch hinge, but it is a very heavily laminated pinch hinge. So that's nice. And laminated on both sides. So that is an excellent ball link already there. Same thing, other side with the AVIOS on there. Big honking, I love that term, honking. Pinch hinge, quality. Okay, elevator packed in there. Same thing, we have a very nice pinch hinge with laminate all the way down. I don't mind pinch hinges as long as they're quality and they got laminate, and that's what this has. Ball link right there. You got all your wing spars here. One, I'm going to assume this is probably for the rudder, vertical stabilizer. And you got two in the wing. I'm going to assume, I hate to say that that's the way it is, but I'm sure that's what it is. Two very nice spars. Very nice spars. Oh, I love this. I love the, well, there's no mistaking which way the propellers go. Obviously the design on the outside, go to the outside. Quick start guide. Okay. And you got your very nice, oh no, this is a mechanical hinge for your rudder. That is very nice. Nice light on there. That's hard plastic on the bottom there. Then you got where all the main action happens. Fowler split flaps. Ball links are already. And see, like, here's a point of quality. Ball link is painted. Everything's painted, and then they've continued, and then over here it wouldn't be painted. So that's just a good thing. That shows some quality there. They got some time. All right. We've got everything is nice and labeled. Aileron, throttle, reverse, and flaps. And if you want to separate your throttle, you just have to undo these and get you some extensions. So just unplug them, because that's just a quick connect. So you just identify your two throttle leads. If you want to do differential thrust and get you some nice long leads. So all you'd have to do is plug them right in. So that's very easy to do. All you got your prop. Oh, look, they're different colors. So shouldn't be able to. That's going to put in there like that. So you're not going to mess it up. I like that. All right, that's nice. Avios, you're doing good. You're doing good, Avios. All right, and then we got our two different nose cones. We got I guess it's the two different variations of the Twin Otter. The long nose and the stubby nose. Okay. Now this is something I was looking forward to. The wheels. They were talking about the wheels, they've improved them. And they're still fairly hard, but they've got a little bit of give, very light. You got suspension gear on the front there. I like that. I like that. I like that. All right. And here is the floats. I'm going to leave them in the box. I do need, well, hold on. I do need to make sure there's nothing underneath the floats. Go. Point of interest on these floats, this is hard plastic, the keel there. Oh, and they're labeled L for left. Actually got some design and color on them. That's, again, another nice, not just a plain white float. Okay, big R on that one. So that's nice. That is nice. They took some time and put some effort into this. So that's a good thing. That is a good thing. All right. let me get everything out of this box. Well, hold on. We gotta look at that fuse. Hold on, we're not done. Gotta look at that fuse first. Gotta look at that fuse before we start cleaning things up. Okay, this is nice. Down there where the wing connections are, I can see down those channels, that's metal. So you got metal screws going in there. Okay. Hardwood up front here for the nose gear. Nice big battery bay. Steering servo right up front there. I like the way the cockpit, as you can see in there. All right. Of course, you got hard point plastic where everything connects back here. Hard point where the rudder attaches. Hard points here for the gear. This is nice. This is very, very, very good quality. AVIOS Air Limited. All right. Okay. Let me go through and see what kind of parts we need, or what kind of tools we're going to need, and get everything ready to go. We'll be right back and put this bad boy together. Hold on. Alrighty, going to use a wing spar, one of them. You got your rudder, both your nacelles, your center section. You got your spar here that goes for the rudder. You got both these wing spars, all your bolts, your connections, your peripherals, landing gear, both of your props, main wheels, nose gear, both of your nose cones, your fuse, both wing halves that go on the outside, and then of course your rudder or your elevator. The quick start guide and the wing fences that would go on right here and here on the elevator if you so choose. All right, looks like a 2mm and maybe a 2.5mm hex drive will get you all your connections done, okay? So let's go ahead, get everything together and let's start building. Or assembling, really. Well, hello folks, this is Fat Guy Flies RC. Now, the other day I got the unboxing assembly done on the AVIOS Twin Otter. Now, I didn't do a build video. There's multiple build videos out there on it, and it's not a new plane. It's been out for about a year or so now. So I just chose to do an unboxing, but I want to go over a few things about the unboxing, about the build, and what to look out for. All right, there's really not a whole lot. There is one feature that we need to address right off the bat that Hobby King and AVIOS did, and that was a servo saver sort of mechanism on the front of the Bushmule, in front of the Twin Otter, to where if you had too much side impact on that front nose wheel, that it would cause, it would help save that servo, the big metal gear servo in there, from stressing it, and basically it's a servo saver. And what that was, it was two halves of a plastic structure that had a groove in it where the servo or the shaft of the nose could ride up and down and help dampen that with a spring. Now, nice idea, okay, and it was functional. However, with my personal taste, I believed it created too much slop in the serving or the steering of the nose wheel. So I took it upon myself, not with any prompting from anyone, but I removed that spring, removed that mechanism, took those two sliding pieces of the shaft together and just glued them together, and then reassembled the front nose gear. Now I don't have that servo saver mechanism in there anymore. To me, it created just too much slop. That's my own personal choice, but I just want to let you know that's what I did. And since I ran into that while I was building it, it made for a very long, complex video. So I chose not to do that part of the build video. So that kind of, to me, messes up the entire video. So I didn't include it. But you still have the suspension gear in the front, and you have the tension of the wire on the back gear, and these very nice, well improved tires that they now have. You have a choice of 2 nose cones that you can put on. Where the other one is. There it is. And it just changes the whole look. Now, I understand it changes the different model because this is a scale plane of the Twin Otter. And I just choose the smaller one because it takes up less room. I set mine up with a 7-channel Lemon RX Gen 2, as you can see right there. It has 7 channel, and I utilized all 7 channels, and I had to add a Y in order to run my lights, or run the tail light. Okay, now I had to use my own Y for that because I split there's a junction box that has all your wires in it. They have everything labeled. Well, I did away with their 1 throttle cable they had, and I unplugged the throttle cables, and I did extensions, and I have each throttle on their own separate channel, and I had given, of course, they needed their own separate channel in the receiver, so that gave me 2 channels, 1 for throttle and 1 on my like aux 2 or whatever, and that way I could have differential thrust, and that's what I did. I set for differential thrust. So if you're going to do that, you're going to need an additional throttle channel, and so that's what I did. I also needed the other channel for a thrust reverse, and so I have a differential thrust and I have thrust reverse. So that's 2 more channels that you need out of the standard 5, which is throttle, aileron, elevator, rudder, let me start over. Throttle, aileron, elevator, rudder. Okay, that's your main 4. Then you have flaps, then you have thrust reverse, and then you have the other channel for the other motor. Okay, so that's why I needed 7 channels. If you're in Spectrum receiver, you would have to get an 8-channel receiver because they don't make a 7-channel, but Lemon RX does, and I like the Lemon RX product, the Gen 2. The first Lemon RXs, but the Gen 2s are awesome. All right, so that's why I have a 7-channel receiver. The plane has beautiful lights, very nice scale light system. I did the Maiden today. The blinking light up there is very, very visible on a low light, and these landing lights are absolutely awesome. To be aware of some things, be careful when you're putting the wheels on. Okay, you have these little clips, little E-clips that slide into place. Now they're very easy to lose. Get yourself a nice pair of some like precision needle nose and slide them on where it stays, and then take the same needle nose and squeeze them, clamp them all down, and you won't have any issue. The other thing is there's a little stopping collar just inside there. You need to loosen that up, slide it in the shaft a little bit, and then anchor it back down in order to slide that wheel on. Don't do like I did and over crank that little grub screw and strip it out. So now on my one wheel, I don't have that side collar. The other thing you might want to do, like I've done, is put a little dab of glue on those little C-clips, those little E-clips, so that they don't slide off of there. You kind of see the glue hanging off of that one there. All right. The other thing, right back there, you see that wire hanging down that tail? Make sure you install that, because this plane is capable of STOL, which means you'll take off suddenly. Well, what does that tail do when you take off suddenly? It hits the ground, right? Well, that little wire skid is an optional build feature that I don't think should be optional. You need to make sure you install that. A little bit, drop a CA, slide it in, you're good to go. The other thing, you'll need a 2mm and a 2.5mm hex drive tool to install the entire plane together. There's no other, you don't need any other kind of tool. to put anything in. So you're going to need that, which is no big deal. They actually give you a little Allen wrench to put the plane together. Don't forget, you do put one of them screws right there, because it's very easy if you don't see that, because you got 2 screws you put on the side of your rudder, you got your screws you put on the thing, but it's very easy to miss putting that screw in. So make sure you do that, okay? There's also one that goes inside up into the rudder. Make sure you install that. The plane flies absolutely amazing, okay? But we'll go over that in a different video, because I'm gonna come back, we're gonna show you after the maiden everything we went over. But very simple plane to put together, but it does take them. There's many screws you have to put together, and it's not hard at all. Make sure you anchor in the struts. These struts are functional. Just make sure you don't over tighten, because you can crack. Because yes, you are going to metal screw in a metal housing, but that's surrounded in plastic, so be careful not to crack those. I gave her a clear coat of my mid wax, which is right here. This is the product I like to use, polyacrylic. And I just spray one nice coat over the entire, watching the windshield. One nice coat over it, and gives it a nice shiny gloss. But there you go. That's kind of the build overview of the AVIOS Twin Otter. Okay, great flying plane. Absolutely. The maiden went wonderfully. I did 2 more flights after that, and this thing flies amazing. But anyways, that's the build overview. God bless y'all, and we'll catch you out at the field. Bye-bye.